Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a monumental shift in how the law even thinks about sexual violence. This whole global conversation was really sparked by one woman's incredible, courageous fight for justice, a fight that is literally reshaping legal systems as we speak.
This quote, this really gets to the very heart of the matter, doesn't it? For centuries, so many legal systems have been working on a really flawed idea. But now, this simple, incredibly powerful concept that the crime is the absence of consent is changing everything. So, this global movement really caught fire in France, and it all centered on one case that forced a national reckoning, all because of the bravery of one woman, Gisèle Pelicot. Just last year, she stood up in court against her own husband, and what she revealed was a horrifying, decade-long pattern of being drugged and assaulted. The details that came out were so shocking they triggered this urgent, undeniable call for legal reform.
I mean, the sheer scale of this case is just staggering. This wasn't a one-time thing. It was a systematic, calculated violation involving dozens of men over an entire decade. The fact that they secured 51 convictions, well, that forced a conversation that society just couldn't ignore anymore. It became a true watershed moment, proving that the old laws were just not working.
So, the public outcry from the Pelicot case led directly to a massive change in the law itself. It forced lawmakers to completely rethink the very definition of rape. And this slide right here perfectly illustrates that core change. You see, under the old law, the burden was all on the survivor to prove they physically fought back, to show bruises, to show evidence of violence. The new law, it flips the script entirely. It redefines rape as any sexual act done without consent, full stop. So what does that actually mean? It means the law finally recognizes that a person's autonomy, their right to control their own body, is violated the moment consent isn't there. It doesn't matter if there was a physical struggle. The focus has finally shifted from the survivor's reaction to the perpetrator's absolute obligation to get consent.
But here's the thing. This is not just a European issue. Not at all. This struggle to center consent in the justice system is happening all over the world. And if we take a look at India, we see a very different but an equally challenging landscape.
Just look at this number, 28%. Between 2018 and 2022, that was the average conviction rate for rape cases in India. Let me put that another way. For every 4 cases that actually make it to trial, more than 3 do not result in a conviction.
And this isn't just an estimate. This data comes straight from the NCRB, which is India's official government agency for crime statistics. It just highlights this deep, systemic problem when it comes to delivering justice for survivors. So that leads to the obvious question, right? Why? Why is that rate so incredibly low? And to understand that number, you have to look beyond the law books and into these really deep-seated societal issues that survivors are up against. The journey for a survivor is it's unbelievably tough. They face this huge social stigma, a culture of judgment and victim blaming. And these deep-rooted patriarchal attitudes, they're even baked into some legal frameworks, where the focus can still be on proving criminal force was used, instead of just the simple fact that there was no consent. It creates an environment where so many are afraid to even come forward. And this shows us something so important. Changing the law on paper, like France did, that is an absolutely vital first step. But it is far from the only thing you need for real, lasting change. If you want to make sexual autonomy a reality, you need a whole plan. It has to start with education, shaping how we think about gender and consent from a really young age. It means retraining police to investigate with empathy and getting the entire judicial system on board. And so crucially, it means actually funding support for survivors, so they have help to cope with trauma and navigate the system.
And all of this brings us right back to where we started, back to that core idea that kicked off this entire movement, the one that Gisèle Pelicot's unbelievable bravery forced the world to pay attention to.
It leaves us with a really clear and powerful understanding. The way we legally define a crime like this, it reflects what we as a society actually value. Do we value proof of injury more than we value a person's right to their own body? The goal here, the real goal, can't just be about changing words in a law book. It has to be about building a culture of complete intolerance for sexual violence. It's about a fundamental commitment to empathy, to justice, and to standing by survivors no matter what.
Because ultimately, everything we've talked about today boils down to this one simple, powerful phrase. It represents a profound and absolutely necessary evolution in our fight for human rights, for dignity, and for the simple, unshakable fact that every single person has the right to their own body.